This is something that many people literally forget to do. And that is to forgive yourself. We are taught so much in the Christian world to forgive others. You may have even had good parents who were always like, hey, just forgive that person. But very few times in my life have I heard people give the advice of, hey, have you forgiven yourself? Have you forgiven yourself from a situation that you were involved in and caused a lot of problems for yourself? Have you stopped because see, what happens is people usually, when they examine themselves, they have regret and anger towards themselves. Why did I do this? Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Those are the questions they ask themselves, and then they get mad at themselves. They call themselves names, and they never stop to actually forgive themselves. They'll think of the other parties involved in the situation, and over time they will release anger towards them, forgiveness towards them. They'll come up with all these excuses as to why these people did this. They'll even come up with all types of excuses as to why they themselves did what they did. But hardly ever will others counsel them, or people counsel themselves to forgive themselves. The problem with unforgiveness is that in order for you to be forgiven and expect others to forgive you, you must forgive. A key principle in Christianity is Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 and 15, where God says, if you don't forgive others, then I'm not forgiving you. But if you forgive others, I'll forgive you. And even if you're not a Christian, still listen to this video. Because unforgiveness is a cage that is self-imposed upon yourself until you forgive. If you're not moving forward and there's no breakthrough in your life, it's because you've not forgiven. But the reason why I'm making this video is because of the largely overlooked topic of forgiving yourself. We often forget to stop and forgive ourselves. Where you could look at yourself in the mirror or just talk to yourself and use your name and say, I forgive myself, and put your name there. Go down the list of things that you've done. And you'll begin to realize that as you do that, you'll start to feel anger start rising to the surface. Anger from yourself towards yourself that's buried. Forgiving others is a known thing. It's a popular thing that's discussed about. But to forgive yourself is the forgotten secret of life. When you're forgiving yourself, ask yourself if you love yourself. Here's a really good exercise. Get an image of yourself and put it in front of you. mentally, a mental image of yourself, and look at yourself there as if you were sitting across from you or standing across from you, and talk to that image. Try a mirror. Tell yourself you love yourself. See how you feel inside. And this isn't love of like, you're in love with yourself, like pride and ego. No. See if you love yourself. And if you love yourself, then that means you've forgiven yourself. But if you don't, if there's a hard time of you saying that and feeling that and connecting with that, then that means that there's unforgiveness there. It's very easy to love people who love you and who have never hurt you or offended you. It's easy. Anyone can do it. But can you love the ones who have hurt you and forgiven you? Hurt you and offended you? But what if you have hurt yourself and offended yourself by doing or saying really dumb and stupid ideas and things and words and actions? Don't forget that you need to forgive yourself as well. You need to forgive yourself. A lot of people will take you through a process of healing, and they'll go down a path of what others have done to themselves. Of what others have done to them. But have you applied that same forgiveness towards yourself? Have you been gracious to yourself? You need to start doing that, because unforgiveness is a self-imposed cage. And if you have not forgiven yourself, but you've forgiven others and you feel like, hey, I'm good, I've forgiven, what about yourself? I guarantee everyone is disappointed in themselves. You look at yourself in a mess of addiction and you say, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? And all the words and anger and emotion. You do a life review and you don't like where you're at. You've lost things that you've once loved and cherished, and you see that it was your error, your mistake. You need to forgive yourself. You need to set yourself free from yourself, from your contempt towards yourself. It's not something that you hear mainly from people. It's a forgotten thing to forgive yourself. Love is forgiveness. Forgiveness is love. If you can reproduce forgiveness each and every time someone you love has hurt you or wronged you, then you will always have that relationship. But if you are unable to forgive others, there's no room for a relationship. If you love, the first thing you will do is to forgive. You will pardon. What does John 3:16 say in the Bible? It says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have eternal life." Well, verse this way: God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever would believe in him would be forgiven, so that they would not perish and have eternal life. The point of God giving his Son, Jesus Christ, who was God himself, was so that forgiveness of sins can be possible. So God loved, and then he forgave. For you to have love in your life, with and for others, you need to forgive them. These are things that are commonly spoken of and known. But now here's the uncommon. For you to love yourself, you must forgive yourself. For you to have a relationship with yourself that's healthy, you need to forgive yourself. In fact, how do you plan on truly loving others and forgiving others if you haven't forgiven yourself to open the door for love to come in from yourself to yourself? The problem with forgiveness is that it makes you think that the other person will think that they're getting away with the offense they committed towards you if you forgive them. Forgiveness is when you throw yourself in prison and you wear the key to the door around your neck all day, but you don't take the key off and open the door because you don't know that that key can open that door. Even though it's around your neck, you just don't know that your freedom, your future, is as close to you as your mouth, is as close to you as that key around your neck, that if you speak forgiveness for yourself, it's like taking the key off your neck and opening the prison gate and walking out. Hey, I'm going to throw myself in prison because I'm so mad at myself and so disappointed at myself that I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to hate myself. And remember, we don't live above the words that leave our mouth. So if you're mad at yourself and you speak angry about yourself, bad words about yourself, you talk down about yourself, you despise yourself, you loathe yourself, you're disappointed, then you're nursing bitterness and anger and offense in your heart towards yourself. And of course you will not forgive that, which of course you will not be able to love yourself properly. I'm telling you, it's a massive secret. Number one, to just forgive, but number two, to forgive yourself. Even if you were involved in a situation where you were a victim, go back and review that. Make sure you didn't do anything wrong slightly. Forgive yourself. Get a good record of your entire life and forgive yourself of it. Let yourself go. You may be in the repercussion of what you did still, but forgive yourself. You reap what you sow. If you don't sow anything, there's nothing there to reap. And you may be in a life where you're not reaping anything because you didn't sow. And now you know that and you wish you did. Be careful of your next move. Because what you do next and how you act next and what you say about yourself will be you putting chains upon yourself, imprisoning yourself, troubling yourself. And then you think that the world is aimed against you, armed against you, when all along you have done it to yourself. Reviewing your life, seeing what you could have done better, seeing what you can do better for self-improvement purposes is good and normal. But if you're going to review your life and see how you can improve yourself and what you should have done better and wished you have done better, only to beat yourself up in the end, don't do it. Only do it if you're willing to say, yeah, you know what, I messed up and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, mention your name. I'm really being serious. And then tell yourself you love yourself after. Encourage yourself then. Speak to yourself. Because one of the biggest secrets in life is forgiveness. And even more of a secret is forgiving yourself and loving yourself. If you plan on being in a relationship with another human being in any capacity, coworker, lover, friend, anything, they're only going to get what you have. And if what you have is years of regret and anger and hate towards yourself and unforgiveness towards yourself, which means no love for yourself, then they are going to get the sum of all of that. And that relationship will in turn trouble you again because they're receiving unhealthy things from you, which will make them treat you unhealthy if they haven't already rejected you and walked away from you. And then you're going to say, why does everyone hate me? Ask yourself, why do you hate yourself? And when you find that answer, that's why everyone else dislikes you. They dislike you and hate you for a reason. Perhaps from some discomfort that you give them from the unforgiveness and lack of love that you have inside of you for yourself. No one is perfect. And you're someone, and that means you're not perfect. You cannot erase the past. If you're dealing with the consequences of your bad choices, the first step out of it is to admit what you did. Forgive yourself. And then love will begin to have the ability to come in to your heart for yourself again. And then once you're in the restored state of self to self, let the love of self grow. Speak life to yourself. Encourage yourself. Build yourself up. And as this gradually begins to happen, it will spill out from you to others and heal places in your life. You will attract better people. Opportunities will come your way. It's sort of like a light bulb that's dim that gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter as you release yourself from yourself. I would say this is the missing key. Because forgiveness is one of the biggest secrets to success in life. And amongst forgiveness, the most overlooked thing of it would be to forgive yourself. You're angry with how your life turned out. And so it becomes the root of a short temper, anger, rage, because secretly you're frustrated with yourself. Because you're frustrated with yourself, other frustrations, are worse than what they should be or could be, because it's being stacked upon frustration that you have about your life, which really means you're frustrated at how you managed your life and how you mismanaged your life. And now you're angry and you're mad really at yourself, and it's spilling up into a short temper and towards anyone and anything. And then comes violence. And then comes crime. And now physically you're in a cage because of your crime, while internally you're also in a cage, a double cage. And you are the biggest loser. But if you want out of that cage before it gets too late, pardon yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Forgive yourself so that you can love yourself. One of the greatest material things that ever existed on the face of this earth is the Bible. And within it is found a book called 1 Corinthians, penned out by a man named Paul. Or if you want to get technical, maybe somebody else wrote it while he spoke to them. I actually don't know the answer to that, but it's irrelevant, because it was the Holy Spirit who put the inspirations inside of Paul to write down what we read. And when you read from the 13th chapter and you go all the way over to verse 4, it starts with this. It says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. I'm going to skip over what it says here and I'll come back. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So let me ask you this question. If love is patient and love is kind and all the other stuff we read, if no one is around for you to be patient with, and if no one is around for you to be kind with, then how can love express itself? It can't. There can be no relationship without love. But there can be no love without forgiveness. Because if you don't forgive, that person will flee, or you'll push them out, and there'll be no one there for you to be patient with or kind with or to love. So in order for love to succeed, it must forgive. Forgiveness is the first reaction and the greatest reaction to loving someone. The part that I skipped over, listen to it. It says, it keeps no record of wrongs. That's love. Love keeps no record of wrongs. That's found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 5. It's the last 6 words of verse 5. Love keeps no record of wrong. In other words, love forgives and forgets. So, in order for you to have a relationship, you need to be patient and kind, which means you need to love. But in order to love, you must not keep a record of wrong, and it only happens after you forgive. So you forgive, you forget, no records of wrong. That allows the free exchange of love. So if you don't love, you cannot be with other people in a healthy relationship. Now, what I just said may be new to you, but I would assume that it's old. It's known things. Generally. Well, maybe not that general, but it's out there. But now, how are you doing with this with yourself? Are you keeping a record of your wrongs because you're not forgiving yourself? If this is the case, how do you plan on having a healthy relationship with yourself? How you think about yourself, how you view yourself. When you're in a crowd, how do you feel about yourself? When you're alone, how do you feel when you're with people? Do you love yourself in a healthy manner? The only way that is yes is if you've forgiven yourself and you have kept no records of the wrong that you have done to yourself and to others. I'm telling you, most people say, oh, forgive, forget, move on, smile, you'll be free, just keep going, just let it go. What about yourself? Have you done this to yourself? We just read about how keeping a record of wrongs is unforgiveness, and it pushes people away, so therefore there will be no one around for you to love. The same for you. It will push you away from yourself. You will hate yourself. You will despise yourself. Don't keep a record of your wrongs by letting yourself go. I let myself go. Say your name. I let, then your name, go. I forgive myself. I love you, then your name. Use your words because they are power. Begin to use them of forgiving yourself, forgetting what you've done, and loving yourself, declaring it over yourself, encouraging yourself with powerful words, good words, not arrogant and cocky words and prideful words, but healthy things. I am strong. I'm smart. Good job. Speak life into yourself, not pride, not ego. I'm the richest thing in the world. You're not. You could be, but these are the types of traits and characteristics that are often found under the umbrella of Satan. Not being rich. Being rich is not a sin. What you do with those riches, that's the problem. But that's another thing. But speak life, speak love, forgive yourself, release yourself. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again in closing. Forgiveness is a known thing. It's understood. It's popular. It's not foreign. But forgiving yourself is. There's not much discussion of it. If you begin to do it, you may find yourself in tears. Wow, I never really did like myself. I never loved myself all these years. That's amazing. You'll be surprised. And then you'll look at yourself and be like, oh, wow, how much I hate myself. You will feel all this stuff inside of you of like this baggage that you didn't even know was there. It's like fat just sitting there that you've grown comfortable with. But fat, you can see it. This type of fat is internal, and you may not see it or even know it's there. But once you uncover it, there's no closing your eye to it. It's open. And take those steps really, truly to forgive yourself. Forget what you've done. Love yourself and speak life to yourself.